if you don't have the information, nobody's going to call you. You need to call, you need to reach out, get the right information. Maybe in many cases you probably don't even know what the status of your investments are.
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of research on this, and during times like this, you know, a lot of advisors are scared themselves. They don't know what
Sure.
to advise.
Sure.
They are frozen, and that's the term that some of our mentors are saying is even veterans have been through this before. They're literally frozen. They don't know what to do.
Right.
And the minute your advisor is frozen and doesn't know what to do, how can he impart proper advice to you?
Yeah,
You know?
and another factor that comes into play there is trust. Trust in your plan. If you don't have a plan, then obviously you're in trouble. You can't trust something you don't have. But if you do have a plan, what changed from the summertime to now? Truthfully, I mean, the markets have obviously been decimated, but what else changed? Has any of the fundamentals changed in the economy? Yeah, this stuff changes, but some of it changes very slowly. One of the things that the pundits have been saying in the financial markets is the volatility within the markets. It's the fear, it's the reaction. But truthfully, the major components of the economy, although the economy is not great, it's certainly I believe, in a sour situation. It takes a while for it to get that way. It didn't happen overnight. It's been slowly happening. It will also slowly get much better.
Yeah.
And I think if you had a plan that was working, you believed was working in the summertime, do you trust that it's still working? It's your plan. It's your plan, and you probably, if you've got the right information, once again, you may make course adjustments, but I think we have to go back and go, okay, do I trust my plan? For example, our investments, I watch very frequently. I love to watch them. And not because I plan on doing anything to them, either whether they're going sky high or going, floor low, either situation, it doesn't matter. But what it does for me is it allows me to be in control, because I need that active amount of observation. And that, I guess, has prepared me for times like this when, okay, there's been a dramatic change in our investments, but I know, okay, well, I've seen swings up like this. And did those swings get me excited? Yeah, but I need to manage the excitement on the upswing as well as on the downswing.
Because we've seen downswings of 5 to 10%, and we've seen upswings of 10, 7, 5%, and then days where it does nothing. And we have to remember, anything that can drop that fast can go up that fast too, and it depends. A lot of it is market sentiment and things like that. And what I've been saying, things are so volatile. Often what we see is the day after things go up 5%, they drop 5%, because what happened, basic market idea here is that the reason it went up is because a lot of people decided this is way too cheap. I need to buy some of this, and that created a market for things. The next day, people that were on the edge wanting to sell said, oh, things have gone up, get me out.
Absolutely.
And so they start selling,
Yep.
and boom. Now the people that are constantly buying through this, they love it.
Yep.
Because between the morning and the afternoon, they're
absolutely.
just buying on the down all the time. They're letting people just sell as they wish.
Yep.
And for me as an advisor, I need to be advising my clients.
Yeah. Your clients aren't day traders.
No, they're not.
And for 99% of us, we're not in it we're not day traders, we're not options traders, we're not derivatives traders. And going back to a comment you made earlier about these kinds of corrections are healthy. They're healthy, but they're also necessary. If you saw the technology boom got to a point where everybody was jumping into it, and there were so many businesses in it doing stuff that really didn't have a whole lot of value, and the crash or correction of the technology side of things, what it did was it shook the industry out, so that what was left was real technology companies with really great ideas, who could sustain a real plan, a real mission, and they were able to do something really good. And it's basically going to do the same thing here. We had on Wall Street, and not as much, I don't think, on Bay Street, but we had companies that were doing things that they probably shouldn't have been doing from a leverage standpoint. I think most of the pundits are suggesting that there was some serious miscalculation going on. Having said that, what's going to happen is that this will work itself out. There will be pain and there will be struggle, but yeah, there's also going to be the light at the end of the tunnel.
Now we're gonna close things up here in a minute. If you've got one thing that you'd like to share with people to help them manage or excel through this difficult crisis that has gripped the world, really, what would that be?
Well, I started off the top. We talked a little bit about fears and stress. Obviously, you're going to have them. I think if you any good explorer, using my analogies, any good explorer before they set off on a trip, they take inventory. They know what they've got. They know that they've got this type of equipment they're bringing along. They know, generally speaking, most of the time they know what path they're going and where the destination is.
Yeah.
Consider the role or the example of an explorer or an adventurer. Do you know what your strengths are? Maybe your strengths aren't financial, and maybe you're doing too much, or maybe you have strengths in another area. Take inventory. This is a great time. I know we're talking financial situations for businesses and for people, but it's a great time for us to step back and observe what's actually going on out there. A lot of times people will jump in and they'll just react. They will, and that's not necessarily always a bad thing, but I think what's really important for most of us is to do something I call a performance shift model, where we observe first, then we can understand the situation, and then we capitalize or compensate for what's going on. So if we can step aside, be objective, understand what's going on with regard to us and who we are in the market, or in our life or in our business, whatever it might be, then we can have a better understanding, observe, understand, and then we move to action, and the cycle continues. And I think that's a very powerful model for all of us. And this is a great wake-up call for all of us to figure out, okay, what are we doing? Where are we?
Well, that's great. Well, thank you very much, Paul. It's
been a pleasure. It's always good
yes.
to see you again.
Thanks for tuning into our show, and that was Paul Fraser from Mindscape, and have a good day.